Good afternoon, this is Jack from the Rth and this is the intraday video for Thursday the 5th of April. Our disclaimer, we do this for educational purposes only. We're here to share our technical analysis with you. We hope that you can take some of what we're doing and learn from it to transfer it to your own charts. We're not here to issue trading signals. Right, let's have a look at ES first. Now, one thing to note on ES here is, I haven't got it marked here, but this is a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing, and it's likely to fix in 14 minutes. So we've got another one on TF. We haven't got one on NQ yet, but there's a slight danger whenever you see a turn, and we've seen the one today, which was gratifyingly only 5 ticks below the 75 ideal I was giving. But there is always a risk, of course, it doesn't come back, and that is a risk here. We haven't got divergence on NQ. I think there's, looking at the Rth charts, I think there is plenty of reason to think that it's going to go a bit higher, and that we retraced, go a bit higher, and then we turn, which I think we are likely to do. So, but it's always possible it just heads straight down and doesn't come back. Where is the obvious target for this retracement? Well, we could go down and do 19, and I like that area because we've got the 50-hour moving average there on SPX, and that is a very obvious area. However, the first obvious area is this. It's the weekly pivot, 2638. I think Stan might have that at 2636, but we're working. He has a slightly different method for rolling. Mine's just the exact figures with on the contract. There's no element to try and roll from one contract to another. So mine's 2638, and we've got obviously the back test of broken megaphone resistance in the same sort of area. We've got that in probably the 2640 area. So that is the target range for this move, the ideal target range. We do not have a big reversal pattern. I was hoping we'd get a retest of the high to set up a double top to bring us down here, but we didn't get that, so we don't have a firm target. But I think it's pretty easy to see where the first serious support would be, and that's in this area, 38 to 40. So that is the obvious area to backtest. We may well find support there, and if we're going to do higher highs, we probably would find support there. So we shall see how that goes. Right, how are we looking on NQ? NQ, nice reversal here. We don't have a sell signal brewing. If there was, it would be about to fix, but this is looking pretty good. We have come up slightly beyond declining resistance, but you'll notice I didn't actually put in a matching line here anywhere. I don't actually have a candidate one. This is often means that we're going to need to go a bit higher to set up something that would be then matchable with a channel support trend line below. We haven't seen that. We haven't seen that happen yet. Chances are we need to go a bit higher for it, and that's what I'm expecting to happen here, more likely than not. TF hasn't made it to, it's made it to the monthly pivot, which ES hasn't quite, and NQ is quite a way short. If we were to make it up to the next obvious trend line, and really at this stage the obvious trend line, that would be in the 1560 area, and if we go higher on ES, that would be the sort of level I'd be looking at. Now, let's have a look at the Rth charts. By the way, if you've got any questions, just ask them in the chat, and I'll be answering them all at the end. So now, let's have a look at the Rth chart. Now, Rth, something I always tend to watch fairly closely because it tends to set up very nice patterns. Where's the trend line on that? It's currently at about the 1563 area. That's a pretty good match with the trend line on TF. So we had a little 15-minute RSI 5 sell signal here. That's already made the target. I don't have a bigger picture 15-minute there. I think I've got one. I've got an RSI 5 one brewing, I think, on SPX, but I'll come to that in a minute. Now, here we've got a 60-minute buy signal that's been active for a while, and that's now made the possible near miss target. It doesn't need to go any higher. It would define this. It would define this move nicely if it was to go up, hit this trend line, and reverse there. Very much the picture I was talking about on CL this morning. So one thing to be aware of is that this is an RSI 5 daily buy signal. So if we were to go through and break support and convert it to break resistance and convert it to support, there would be a risk that it would go higher. That it would be to a certain extent backed up by signals. Now, NDX, we've got a 15-minute RSI 14 sell signal. We had an RSI 512, but that's already made the target. If we were to go and backtest the 50. Then that would be in the 6500 area, and that'd probably be a pretty good match with what the area I'm looking at on ES. Let's have a look at the 60-minute chart. Again, we had a 60-minute buy signal RSI 14. That hasn't quite reached the possible near miss target. I've got a weak RSI 5 sell signal fixed on the hourly chart. We do have also, I think, a daily RSI 5 buy signal fixed. Yep. And we've also got a potential support found at a fairly major support trend line. That is always something I take seriously. So it's something I mentioned when we reached it, and it's something I'm going to be looking at until it breaks. And at that stage, I'll be starting to consider it obviously as a retest target. Now, SPX. On the 15-minute chart, we've got an RSI 5 sell signal, and that has pretty much made target, which actually the 5-minute RSI 14 signal has not yet. Possible head and shoulders forming here, possibly as part of a larger IHS forming here. So it's possible we could have... this would have an ideal right shoulder low, 25.85, but if we went back and did a full test of 2600 and then rallied strongly there, we would have an IHS, which would have a target up in the 2790 area, so basically a retest of the current rally high. Not something I'm taking too seriously here, but it is something that's in the mix and I am aware of. Right, on the 60-minute chart, we had a 60-minute buy signal, and that's also reached, like Rut, has reached the possible near-miss target. It's possible that's done, but I'm favouring a little more upside. This is the possible IHS neckline, which is definitely something I'm watching. This could be an asymmetric double bottom neckline as well, in which case we could see just a slight break, a relatively short right shoulder, which is pretty much what I'd be thinking here, and then a break up into a higher high, which would be a break up from through double bottom resistance that would fail straight back into the lows, which would be a Janus flag. So could it happen that way? Yes, it could. We've also got a daily buy signal here, and that is... I think I'd be inclined to class this. No, it's a full RSI 5 buy signal backed up by NIMOs. This is an RSI 5 NIMO buy signal. Does it need to make target? Well, I am reminded. These are very good signals, but the thing is, one thing I say quite a lot is that these signals will get run over in a strongly trending move. Is this a strongly trending move? I don't know. We'll find out. But if but we had a very nice rally up into a high, and then we had a retracement, and then I had buy signals fixed, and it was looking really peachy. In September 2015 until we suddenly dropped 200 odd handles into the low for the year, and that was a strongly trending move, and it just got run over. This could well do the same. I'm not expecting to see the retracement low in here. It is too early. Anything's possible, but I'd be really surprised. So we shall see how that goes. Okay, right, moving on to DX.